I just had no idea that you could have a youth group in a small town or a rural area. I figured no kids, no chance, and I just thought it'd just be impossible.
We've been in Chambersburg for about 3 years now, and when we first got here, there was hardly any kids at our church. There was about 3 that were teenage, and then a couple little kids, and then our kids. And one of the things that our church is involved in is a summer camp. And at summer camp that year, a group of kids from the next town over asked Nate if he would start a youth group. And we started that youth group in our home, meeting on Wednesdays. And this small group of kids would come, and teens, and they would learn about God in our home, learn about Jesus in our home. And we'd feed them, and we'd fellowship with them. But after a month or 2, it started to get too big, and we couldn't meet in our home anymore. And so we started meeting at the church.
So we started driving the bus around and picking up kids. Now we drive probably a total of about 7 miles out one way and about 15 miles the other way. And then actually we drive about 15 miles one other way that we send a minivan now. So we're really driving a lot to get these kids picked up. And it just grew from, we thought, wow, when we got up to 12, we thought that was amazing. And then we thought 15 was amazing, and 20 and 25 and 30. And eventually, I think probably about the highest we've hit was somewhere in the 40s.
We'd always tell the kids when they left youth group, remember to invite your friends next week. And every week we had new kids come. They'd bring their friends, and then they would bring their friends, and they would bring their friends. And it has just grown to something that we just would have never, ever, ever imagined. And God has just brought these kids to our church.
These are all kids who 98% of them have no faith in God, no religious background. It's closer to inner city, I think, than I would have expected. A lot of these kids are from, they're at grandma's this week, grandpa's next week, mom's this week, dad's next week, and it's just very crazy.
And on any given Wednesday, we get about 30 of them coming into the church doors and having a meal with us, learning about Jesus and fellowshipping. And it's wonderful. This is their church. Even though those kids only come on Wednesday night, this is their church. This is where they're learning about God. This is where they're learning about His love, and this is where we show them that we care about them by giving them a meal, by having a lesson that shows them Christ, and fellowshipping with them and listening to them and talking to them. And it's just amazing that God brought all these kids to this small rural church that doesn't really have kids on Sunday morning. In this church in the middle of nowhere, they're coming and they're bringing their friends, and they're loving it enough that they're inviting others. And it's just amazing to be a part of what God is doing in this small rural community.